great people of Ghana. Is your Nigerian girl pleasure bringing you political news in our channel already. Ghana is actually in a very happy moment as our vice president is finally back, and so many appointments, so many happening in Ghana, which we actually want to bring to you. Please switch.
Street and also Chief Justice, suspended Chief Justice, Mami get to Tokunu, Wako Court. Never me no de echo court was said the kind no nipa me no bi wo committee na mo eye ne nsem no mo hwehwem no so na wo hu say omo ye bias because omo ne lawyer bi akwa akohia ama meeting bi e course no as o hu ne say omo tra committee no so bia enye yie e na afa so kra na asem na e course no kra na wo say court no hwe na asem no butwam nti say wo de sa asem na kopiem wo court a wo hwe say court be ka bia ma no ne lawyer Godfrey Dame, former Attorney General, and then now filing a case.
Yeah, they can mention what's here for. Ever since this Chief Justice petition whole thing, broke it up, whenever I'm discussing the issue, I'm discussing it with some reverence because of respect to be a number one for the woman. Because if nothing at all, she has been at the Supreme Court or a Supreme Court Justice. By law, me who petition, every bit of respect I will move for the woman is gone. Oh yes. The Ubakaya me catch that when the captain smart some time ago say, so person who wait for a troubled day. Asaminya Maya, Obia Nyansa. But the very moment Asambato, how you conduct and compose yourself to face the stormy circumstances that I imagine, and let's just say indeed this person is really smart or intelligent. This is a woman. What got it to a point she's fighting the very things she has defended in her entire life, and to the point okay, some of the reliefs and for me, in my personal opinion, I think this is one of the most stupid suit in my entire life.
Oh wow.
Oh yes, because there is absolute no sense in this particular suit that has been filed by the Chief Justice by the lawyers. No wonder say EFN say go for that many anymore, because you see the very things she's questioning, she doesn't even have the locus to question those things in the first place. This is a woman all can say president right now or they are suspended court to removal. This is absolute nonsense. And you see basic student or I think you be a basic law student will have to understand those are express constitutional powers that has been granted to the president, and he alone can exercise those things. Because the law says one premier facie has been established, the president may, that power is discretionary. He can decide not to and decide to. It's up to the president. And my culture say Akufo-Addo exercised the same mandate during Justice Derry and Co power. Abraham not go for the dominant as if I were part of this government. So because it's John Mahama, already so suit now or more afale they are just seeking to ridicule President Mahama. Powers or enjoy as a president. They're even taking it away from him because she is questioning how even the premier facie was established. So processes now move forward through a council of state in as go through as a court to declare the entire establishing the premier facie null and void, because if you go to the constitution, there are no laid down procedures. These are the stages you need to go through to ensure premier facie will be established. But rather, the constitution says that when the president receives the petition, he will forward it to the council of state. The determination process, nobody has explained in any legal way. We can set up a procedure just to regularize it. Okay, this is what the constitution says, but in its implementation, this is how we want to do it. You as a Chief Justice, you've been sitting there for years. Say Yan set up a procedure in establishing the premier facie, so that we know that this is the process it goes through. And sadly, always the president will see the petition, forward it to council of state, and her as a Chief Justice Akufo-Addo received the petition, forwarded to council of state, they went through and she was acquitted. Why didn't she question that particular? You see, these are emotional, you see, these are very dishonest, despicable, vulgar, dirty people over the years, you know. And I'm also an judiciary, you know, because he's beginning to question the very thing she has stood for, she had fought for, or they defended a year for. And this woman today had the guts and the infantry to tell Ghana for say court issue in Jant, your friend saying the ongoing process now a course no committee no more no in Jant or file that petition. I'm not sure say okay ho yeah na make say so do ho ba e betutu asre na basa e be kire where you are coming from, because you see or say you stop the process na you kodi na se nuwie na ye di wie ansa na committee onye serious, she's a joker. Listen, this woman as a chief justice, you know, Ghana for file petition okay e-levy, I'll back it with fact and figures. When the e-levy thing came out, Haruna Idrisu and other people took the issue to court. By the time I ever not this woman making sure say the e-levy has been passed. Political parties took your friend saying ECA to court, just to ensure say over stopping it from say young register our district level, no. This woman the date, yes, what to find the date I said the bottom. By an ECA implement, she didn't even stop the EC. So we have to dominivo. Removing the issue was a very critical issue. This woman, she postponed the whole thing to the stage that Papa call retirement and sana. And then you have the gut and the she's a shameless woman. All these years, you know, I had a lot of respect for her. But yesterday when I saw the petition, and I said we are now allowed the whole to be fooled by some government and co. But these jokers were recently in power, and they were the very people who were spearheading this nonsense going on in this country. And well, who's the Supreme Court to stop a process? The Supreme Court had any power to stop any process, because you see, these are explicit constitutional injunction on the president. It's a process that has been activated. There are even timelines on it. So if President Mahama could stop it this particular way, I may say Ghana for come at him. This whole thing need to court proceeding can go or court. Everybody, I said can go to court. Anybody can go to court. You understand? But it must not have any effect on this part, because Supreme Court has proven sufficient. They say yes, you can go ahead and proceed, and have given you 3 good instances. And then she's telling us, your friend is saying, President, Premier Fasia, establish here no crano, Yam Famra Council, and should be declared null and void. Which court? Which court? And a bit of the power, over cancel that particular thing that has been, your friend saying, put forward by the president. Again, as you raise legal and constitutional infringement under President Mahama. Say Mahama, why article, but she is bringing forth proper and true interpretation of article. That would have been interpreted constitution. So tell the president and the Supreme Court say why infringe on this? Why your way? President Mahama as a stance now we throw challenge to Ghanaians. But Ghana Bar Association none of them was able to pontificate at exact one your friends infraction a president are conducting. So on what basis? And they declare the process null and void. And again, this woman had the guts to say judges living or perceive bias. These are people you've been working with in the Supreme Court. Justice Panama Bonidi and some other people. These are so, which means judiciary now or down our tendency to be biased in favor of man for. You say I can many beers right because the old dear man for no, she knows to say this is what has been going on. So in some oil is even taking credibility away from the judiciary, because yet as an ordinary person I know so we could do Supreme Court judge I could also there and the other person. Because of experience, integrity is high. And the Chief Justice is telling us over the years, go jail, life, and because it is her, no, she is questioning their integrity. They have the tendency to be biased. I don't know, this particular process is not a court process. obi no bit me share dim common na say for and no kwan there are no factual basis to substantiate some of these things. We prove when bring video evidence I say obi no be akwa baby. You understand? So I think say you see or sinking and I told you the last time say in any civilized society where you serve people and the people say you give up, you go home. Because now no me share Charlotte say interview bi na ye bisa say you know affected and as I end day. I said this is not it was a job, not my life.
Yeah.
She's now there. But I said why baby I see say then it's giving credence to impression man for and a lawyer who cover no e go for dame. And some no bad na leaky to the media free. I sat here and I told you where those leaks are coming from. Now no your friend is say uncle Koshia committee no cry no. Letter or Chrakwa committee ni say location na modern man no instead of clear na woman a proper location. That letter was leaked and Paul Ademochi was reading the letter on TV. So it means every single thing coming out of this particular thing came from her. Letter na wo Chrakwa sa direction yam for man as for Paul Ademochi got a leak of that particular way and he was reading. And since this whole process started, every single bit coming from the Chief Justice outfit goes to him. So it means one casano, baby everyone will say the law is no longer a law. You are putting up an emotional battle because only Ghana for a form as seven nobody NDC MPP obenye ni pama na kabiama. At the end of the day, if you are able to say Niema way na President Mahama atiatia so today they are seeking to take away the presidential powers. President Mahama say ono do ya Mahama de na ono no fini obey I see judicial powers na say for no that sick mindset, that archaic sense of reason is that we are better than Obia. Now if it is not us and nobody know, that is what is playing out. And I think that President Mahama is watching that. This stupid antics being set in motion by these people say or transema a fan so the power he need to step up and say hey, I'm in charge. This particular process should continue. The committee he should not change any member of the committee because these are people the Chief Justice has been using working with them all these years. So or any specific way about any individual but bias is vague. Bias in what sense? Bias in what sense? Bias have they shown it? Because you can perceive that will be biased, but until that bias play out, you there is no evidence to justify that will be a bias. You understand? And as semna yede ato so na say ya kan fa ho no. So concrete answers here. You shouldn't be going into the gutters like a dog fighting for survival. Post na why no akwasa kama yede ababo ni team and the owo bia no chasing. That's exactly what she's doing. And for me, looking at how far she has come, the track record as a Ghana, your friends a Chief Justice, you need to try with some modicum of respect, even if not for yourself, for Ghana, because you want a different someone. But they're all to the stand say, and I could join the very. For the years have been making noise. I don't know the same MPP family you put up some silly your friend saying relief on piece of paper seeking that we will indict the president, discredit him, making the whole world look like I'm being hounded because government has changed. When indeed in some good paper you've not been able to establish any way via HSI and you've been given the room, you've been given the power to respond. And again, Sir Premier Fasina establish and they all come home to one Casa as a Chief Justice, I will letter come out president. You want to be part of that process because I catch us at that process and your adversarial process. You need to hear from her at that point. Because the Constitution says a set up committee at that point and a woman will be heard. But the president was kind enough to adhere to your call at that point, so if we said that process, fair now a British constitutional way. Why then did you take part in the process? What does America say? Because she's questioning the whole process, the whole premier facility that has been established. But for the first time, you've been given a hearing before that decision was taken. and sign a council of state you got tenase so she says a council of state omunim nyansa omunim do moye and onu kwa nim nyansa and now she's questioning that particular thing and America says she's clutching her straws. This is a sinking woman and so she's just clutching her straws. But you see, it's better so we give you up now than this shameless fight. When America all this I had a lot of respect for her. But with this particular thing, oh, everything is gone. Because my catchers are some band of women for she has demonstrated sufficiently say Tina Otihono, she was just doing the bidding of some people. And the people he was doing their bidding are the very people who are forced I relieve no moody go paper so abisa so who had answer be anim and sanema way go ahead to dent the credibility of our judiciary and that justice Ponamina won't way so catches or bias and obey bias obedient yaw I don't know the days only Padua among back court in the past the mudity that is the modus operandi. You are always biased because you are we chief justice it means over the years ordinary person don't buy anything and she's questioning very things she has been defending. So for me I think this woman should be disregarded or you lost count on her sinking. She doesn't want to go alone. She's just trying to blow everything off her way. The president needs to remain resolute, focused, and stay on track. Because as long as I on veer off, not onyan and not on making any mistake, there hasn't been any constitutional infraction, there hasn't been any infringement, there hasn't been any breach of any of the articles as enshrined in the Constitution under Article 146 downwards. The president needs to remain resolute and go for it. Because you see, if he cow under this particular pressure, now a woman will coming back. Pressure about so I'm telling you. Because there are
please do well to like, comment, and follow. Put your notification bell so you get all our news one by one. Thanks, my people.